Hello. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Meochia, and this is my daughter.
Disha, hello.
Hello. Today, we decided that we would have our mad conversation about resolving conflicts because we understand that sometimes mothers and daughters get into situations where they are going at each other, and a lot of times it ends in them not talking to each other or just at each other's throats every time they talk. So, we want to help with that. So, we've come up with something called the look up theory, and not look up as in research, but more like look up to more positive days. And so, with that, we'll just begin the presentation. It's all about resolving conflicts. So, the first thing that you want to do when you are going through situations with your mother or daughter is listen. Listening is not easy. So, our mad tip is this: everyone deserves to be heard. Sometimes you even have to repeat it back so the other person can hear how they sound, and so that they can also understand what it is that you hear them saying, and you can understand what it is that you're actually hearing from them. Because you know how sometimes you let stuff out of your mouth, and then when you hear it played back to you, you be like, that don't sound right. So that's the most important thing, is to listen and to make sure that you're hearing things correctly. What do you think?
No. Listening.
Wait, what do you think? No?
No. This one right here. Go upstairs.
So we do have I do have another daughter, so I'm dealing with two generations. I got my oldest daughter, and I got my youngest daughter. Come say hi, she can be on screen. So just that is little Meochia. Okay, so the first thing we want to say in this is listen to what each other has to say respectfully. No matter how much you disagree or feel it's not entirely true, it's important that you listen. And sometimes it's hard to listen when somebody is saying something that is not accurate. So, how do you do that? How do you just like zip when I have information that might not be true, or that I'm going on and on and on and I'm not right?
Yeah, sometimes I just let her talk until she either one burns out or two, I just really try hard at treating people the way that I want to be treated. So it's kind of difficult when
I
you're
told her
doing
that.
that, especially when it's in a situation where it's your mother, right? Because moms are gonna come in regardless, knowing that in the sense like you all earned that respect. So it's just respecting your mom and treating it as such. But there's also ways of just being like, all right, now that I've heard you out, can you take a moment and listen to me? And sometimes it's okay to pause the conversation and ask that. And when it's your turn, add in. And I think that mothers, for the most part, they should be quicker to listen than they are to respond, because a lot of times you guys want to solve things. So instead of you listening, you're just like, I heard what I needed to hear. Let me give my input.
Even if it's something that you don't want to hear, it's important that as moms that we listen. It's important as daughters that you listen, because a lot of times you all think that, oh, you're just always trying to tell me something and tell me how to live my life. Well, a lot of times it's because we've actually lived your life. But as moms, we have to understand that you aren't us, and we have to respect the fact that you all are getting older. But I think definitely it's a matter of being respectful of each other. And I tell her, no matter how old you get, I'm still your mama. So you be careful in how you approach me. But in the same sense, I'm very careful in how I approach her.
Yep. But we also, too, in our first conversation, when we talked about just having a relationship, and be keen to the reason why you might not want to listen, because you could be saying something that's hurtful to the other person that they may not be ready to hear. You may be saying something that, is not true, or you may be striking some emotional chords and not even realizing where that's stemming from. So make sure you put your, I would say, offensive feelings to the side, and just take time to open up and do that.
Yeah, listen. It's important. Just as much as you want to be heard, the other person wants to be heard too. And it's not good when people start shutting down because they feel like somebody isn't listening. So you have to respect each other. So the next one is opening up. You have to open up, and that calls for being vulnerable. And it's not easy for a lot of us to be vulnerable. You have to be able to talk about how you feel. It's not fair to assume everyone's a mind reader, because we got that bad habit of doing that, especially as moms. Well, she should clearly see that I'm upset about something. She is growing into her womanhood. She doesn't understand everything that's going on inside of a mom's mind. And that's important, because what will happen is, if I'm constantly reading her mind, or I think I know what it is she's feeling, she's going to shut down. And that's what happens a lot of times. People shut down. Don't let the other person dictate your feelings, and don't leave them without a clue and expect change. And that's sometimes what mothers can do. Mothers can say, listen, I keep telling you this time and time again, I'm not talking no more. And some mothers just don't talk at all. So now you're leaving your daughter to figure out life on her own, because you don't want to talk. And then you getting upset with her because she makes a mistake. It's not fair. You can't expect her to just wake up one day and be an adult. I would say this: when women are in their 20s to their 30s, they are still growing, learning. And in this, they're not full, they're adults, but they're not full adults. They haven't went through everything. So daughters still need moms. So we both have to open up.
So, what ways as a mom do you feel like you've helped me open up, especially when we get to moments of conflict?
Mm.
But how do you feel like you helped me in that area?
Sometimes I just kind of, with me, I like to do a lot of sharing of my own life.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to make you feel safe, like it's comfortable to talk. And then sometimes I give you a moment. And like I said in the other presentations, I don't let you sit in it for too long,
Mm-hmm.
but I give you a moment to just kind of breathe and think about it, because I know you process differently.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you're ready to talk, you will. Or sometimes it takes me just kind of pressing in a little bit, And I'm like, come on, Disha, let's go somewhere. And we're really going somewhere. It's really not about the place that we're going. It's really about giving you a moment to feel comfortable enough to feel like you can open up and talk.
And I would have to say that I agree with that too, because for the longest, with us growing in our relationship, my mother had to realize that, in a sense, I am introverted. Where
I didn't know what that meant. I don't know.
Where she's just extroverted personality. So therefore, whenever, just like she was saying, I process. So whenever something of a conflict would arise, instead of me just coming to her directly talking about it, I may shut down or find other ways to express that, okay, I'm having issues, I'm not talking, and not necessarily know how to talk about it. But because of the relationship that we had to, for you to take the time and be patient enough to walk side by side with me and look like, okay, she is introverted. So how do I do this? How do I get her to talk to me without feeling like everything that she's going to bring up is going to be a disagreement?
Yeah.
And I know that there are mother-daughter relationships where they don't necessarily have the opportunity. It's like you can have a mother that's constantly just like coming down at you without trying to understand where you are at all, which can trickle down to stress in other relationships that you try to build.
Yeah.
So it's very important that I feel like, at least if you can get this together with your mom, you can be able to go into any relationship, because it's like that comfort of speaking up at home with somebody that you should be able to trust.
And then I had to be honest with myself. I mean, I'm a mom, so for a minute I didn't understand that she was an introvert. I just knew ever since she was little, when it comes to a certain point with Disha, she just kind of like close up. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what it was, because I'm so but then I had those times with me. It took me going through some things. I've always been a nice, happy, friendly person, but there's another side of me that is kind of like withdrawn. Mm-hmm. I didn't recognize that in my daughter as that being a part of who I am. And so I was like, man, maybe it's because I'm so that it causes her to close up. And it wasn't that. It was just, that's how her personality is. It's nothing about me. For a minute, I did think it was something with me. But no, it's just her personality and who she is. And I actually noticed that in my youngest daughter, too. She has that same trait. And I had to like go back, and I'm like, whoa, they kind of get that from me. But when they start feeling comfortable, they'll open up. But that's a part of learning who your child is and recognizing who you are. Sometimes we don't want to admit who we are, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We just want to see the good. And it's not even that her personality or what that part of her is bad. It's just that's who she is. So I have to deal with her and the person that she is and accept that. And then that's how I learned to deal with that.
And you know what, even on the other side, for daughters wanting their mom to open up, because we have situations too where you may not be comfortable opening up to me right away. And a lot of that stuff is just that you feel like we haven't experienced the same thing. Yeah. And it's just it may be
or I don't want
something.
you looking at me like,
Right. And especially when a conflict or something arises, right? It's like nobody wants to be that person that's feeling showing that they're vulnerable.
Yeah.
So when you do just comfort your mom, and it's just like, man, it's okay. You can talk to me about this. Let's grow through this together, because you're not going to be able to succumb it if you.
Yeah, because even as moms, especially I'll speak of women of color, we were raised to be these strong women. And so how often is it that you've really seen your mom cry? My daughter probably has seen me cry maybe a handful of times, because we're taught we have to be strong, and society makes us that way. We have to be so strong. But there are times when, things hurt me, and my daughter saw that in me. And I think it shows her that I am a woman, I am vulnerable. I can't do everything. There's some things I can do it with your help and with your support, but I need you. I need help sometimes. And it's okay for you to ask for help. And it's okay for you to cry and you to be vulnerable sometimes too. Yeah. We got to be able to show that. We got to open up and be vulnerable. So the next one is look for opportunities. Find opportunities to connect and begin the conversation about the issue. Do not start the conversation in the middle of frustration. Be calm. It's hard to go down when you are already at the top. That means it's hard to tell you to calm down if you start the conversation and you're already upset. Don't do that. If you have something to say to your mom, or you have something to say to your daughter, wait until you are absolutely calm. That way you have a starting point. If you start up here, what's going to bring you back down? And y'all know how hard it is. Let's keep it real. When you mad and then you found out you was wrong, it'd be hard to be like, I'm sorry. Now you got to find some kind of way to like make all of that stuff match. And it's hard. Pride gets in the way. So the thing is like, so when do we create these opportunities? When do we have these opportunities? After a good movie. So maybe you and your mom can watch a movie together when it's COVID is lifted or whatever. Maybe you all can go to the movies, and you can even make sure that it's a movie that kind of has something to do with what you're dealing with, which I want to talk about, but I'm not really sure if you can talk about, while having a good dessert. How many of us don't like good dessert? Or for those of you who drink wine and your daughter is old enough, I mean, maybe have a glass of wine or a shake when you're alone. Having these conversations, these conflicts, these things that are bothering you all in front of other people.
Don't have them in front of your aunties, the grandmas, the siblings, because everybody knows, like, most likely, and we know we're all women. We're going to go and talk to either our best friends about what happened or somebody closest, because we need somebody to relate with us in the situation. Yeah. And sometimes even though you may forgive and move past the situation, you got your other relatives and sisters and stuff who may not. Yeah. So just be mindful of that. And you don't want to get a different reaction that you probably could have, because now the person that's being put on blast is feeling pushed into a corner.
So how can I admit that I'm wrong or say I'm sorry when you got me feeling like I need to like step up and say something? Because I'm gonna defend myself. You ain't about to make me look like a punk. Let's keep it real. Mm-hmm. I know where I'm from. It's not gonna happen. So in that, pride steps in and gets in the way.
Somebody, you know where you from. You're somebody mama. What you mean?
Oh, I'm sorry. You know your mama. So really you got to be careful. And then I don't want to have her feeling a certain way in front of her friends. She don't want to look weak in front of her friends or look, yeah. Mom, I love you, but man, I'm an adult. So, you want to be mindful of who you bring around. And then aunties add stuff to it, and grandmas do too. Sometimes grandmas don't want you saying nothing to their baby. And then there's other times if it's a grandmother like my mother, she'll be like, wait, who you think you're talking to? And now two people beating your daughter up when, that didn't have to happen. Mm-hmm. And when you all both in a good mood, it doesn't spoil the mood. Nobody can see you, right? Yeah. Okay. That hand. So when you're both in a good mood, and it's not a buzzkill. Mm-hmm. You hear that word I use? Yeah. Is that like relevant? Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it's not a buzzkill. When you all are in a good mood, it kind of opens you up to listen a little bit more and listen in a little bit more. Yeah. So you don't bring it up confronting, you made me mad, when it could be like, Ma, or let me say it I can say it to Disha, like, I was, I kind of, when you said such and such to me the other day, I didn't like that. I didn't like the tone that you used. And then she'll come back, well, oh, Mom, I didn't mean it like that. Or I'm sorry, I didn't know you took it that way. Like today she came in and I kind of assumed the wrong thing about something that was said. And she must have sensed it in my quietness. I was kind of like, and she was like, Mom, we had that conversation earlier. And I think that you were saying this and that, but what I was really saying, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. But most importantly, like it says, find opportunities and be calm when that happens. That's the most important. Even no matter who it's coming from. Sometimes it's easier as the mom, because we're looking at you like, look, we need to know that you still love us at the end of this conflict. So don't come in biting my head off like when you see your daughter reaching out, trying to make ways and get out of the conflict. Don't be like, oh, throwing shots like,
yeah.
you suck.
I hate to see that. Yeah,
This and that. Like this and that. That's like,
bald heads and nasty.
You look like your daddy, all stuff like that. But
yeah, I hate to see that. I hate to hear.
Or even daughters, when mom's trying to extend the olive branch and you're just so bitter by this point, you're just
and then you're bringing other stuff into the conversation.
Yeah.
Don't do that. I hate to hear about mothers who curse at their daughters, who just body shame their daughters, just a lot of different stuff. I hate to hear that. We got to find better ways so that we can be together, So when I'm talking to you, I won't feel so defensive all the time. And when you're talking to me, you don't feel like you have to defend yourself. So we got to really be careful with that. No, it's not normal for mothers and daughters to act this way. Even if it's how they normally act lately, like when somebody's angry and somebody's upset, and you've been around your mother your whole life, just as much as she's been around you. You pretty much should know each other. If your mother or your daughter is acting out of character, you should be taking clues from the way that they're acting and say something is not right. So instead of you feeding into that, find out what's wrong. So instead of snapping off and getting angry with them, investigate. You deserve to know, and she deserves for you to tell her what's really going on. Because mom might be acting a certain way towards you, but it's really something else going on. She may have gotten a diagnosis, and she doesn't know how to deal with it yet. So she's kind of taking it out on people. You getting angry while she's angry or frustrated or whatever, that's not healthy. So maybe it starts with you investigating and saying, hey, Mom, is everything okay? Right. Are you all right? How's everything going at work? You don't know what's going on. Even with your daughter, hey, sweetheart, is everything okay with you?
Exactly. And that's what I was just about to say. On the flip side of that, we are growing in experience in life, whether it can be something from a breakup, a bad bed at work, or anything with friendships or molestation and rape. Let's keep it real.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like certain things that may be happening, is ways to ask questions, even if you feel uncomfortable. Is worth it enough. It should be worth it enough for the relationship that you sit right there, you take it in, and you get to know what's happening before you write that relationship off. And I feel like that's the reason why we have these mad conversations and we want to keep it going, because it's like, man, the best way to get through these relationships is to actually know who this person that you're, growing with. You should deserve that.
Because y'all gonna be around each other for the rest of y'all lives, whether y'all like it or not. Y'all gonna have grandchildren one day, or and they're gonna be there. Find out why. You need to know that person. You can't get in a relationship with a guy and all of a sudden after 6 months you feel like you know the world about him, but this woman or child has been in your life your whole life. You don't know anything about him. So take the time to get to know that person. Do a quiz. Sit down, Mom. Tell me some things about you. We love talking about ourselves. Some of us do.
What? Yeah, and that'll help. Right. The more you get to know that person in the midst of conflict, you know that when certain things arise, like, okay, what pushes their buttons, and how did we get past this conflict last time? Because if we made it through last time this way, chances are we're probably going through the same thing again. This is how I engage them.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So remember the goals. The goals are to look up. The main two things that we want to always do is we want to have unity and we want to have peace. So in unity, that is what you need in order to build a better relationship. Because remember, you are in this together. You don't want to continue going down a dark path, a dark repetitive path. Because I know some of you have probably experienced that with your moms, where it's like over and over again, the same thing. I know. because me and my mom went through it for years. When I tell you years, I'm talking about decades. Like when my mother was, I would say something to her and I want to talk about some things from our past. My mother wouldn't want to talk about it. My mother would just shut up, Meochia. And that's it. Or her and my sister would kind of like tease me. And me, even being an adult woman with a child that I was raising independently, I would cry. They would make me cry until I got to the point where I started understanding forgiveness, understanding who I was, and understanding that this is not going to change. They're not changing, so I have to change. And that took a lot of God. It took a whole lot of forgiveness. It took a whole lot of reflection. It took a whole lot of discipline. So what I started doing was, instead of expecting my mom to change, I began changing the way I responded to her. And I'm gonna tell you something. Sometimes when people don't really want that or not used to that, they get upset. My mother and them weren't too happy in some of the instances. Oh, who you think you are? You think you better than everybody? We kind of went through one of those things, and I didn't think I was better than anybody. I wanted change, so that I wasn't crying anymore, and I wasn't arguing anymore, and I didn't do things that make things escalate. So as soon as I see her start getting upset, I'll just stop, and wait to a better time, or just, okay, hey mom, how you doing? Now I'm talking about her and I'm not talking about me anymore, to kind of like help her get her off of the deep thing.
So let's talk about some of the ways to build unity. So with that, you can focus on commonalities, find your thing, meaning you and your mom's thing.
Yeah. Our thing is wine. We like wine, and we like sitting in the car.
Yeah, that's true.
After a shopping
car conversations are the best.
Car conversations. We should have one of those.
Yeah, we should. And then remember that good feeling. But
just that good feeling.
That good feeling is just like when everything was just all peaceful and like you really just, oh man, this is me and my mama. I love this time.
When we just really getting along.
Yeah. And then you start feeling like she may be your friend like that, but then you have to realize like, whoa, but she my mama.
I'm not your friend.
Like at least we can still get it.
Well, you don't live with me anymore, so.
Right. No. I still don't even think that happened to marriage.
I think I think I scared her way too much.
Yeah. But let's talk about that though. It's situations where the relationship may not be as easy as we can focus on our commonalities, because it may be so much conflict there that you may feel like there is nothing in common with your mom, because it may be a lot of things that she does that you don't like, that it's hard for you to find those things.
Or it might be so much hurt there that you're not even
right now. You're not looking. And the same thing with, it may be so much hurt from her that she might be like, man, like I don't have nothing in common with this girl, so why even try?
Right.
Or, we ain't gonna ever find our thing because it's nothing that we like doing together. Or you probably can't even remember a time that there was a good feeling. So going back to your situation with your mother, even though I know that you love your mother and you have so much respect
I do love my mom.
And but granted, coming out of the situation that you guys had, for you to turn around and love on your daughters the way that you do, that's pretty awesome. Not too many people have that though. Yeah. So how do you do the things that we have here listed? How does that keep the relationship with your mom still going?
I think I'm always striving to build that relationship with her, because I never want you all to stop trying with me. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I think that certain things are just generational curses, and I think it stops somewhere. And sometimes I think I can help to show my mom indirectly how to love me through the way that I love you all. Mm-hmm. And I'm constantly striving for that. And if it never happens, and I'm believing it with faith that it does, I'm going to continue to love her the way that I'm supposed to, because that is my responsibility as a human being and as her daughter. Mm-hmm. And I need her to always know, no matter what, I love her. Just like I want you to always know that I love you. And we just break the chain. And so that's what I do. And with commonalities, as far as me and my mom is concerned, I know it's certain things she like. I've been with her my whole life. So, I bring those things to her that she like. And I know with my mom, sometimes it's simple stuff. My mom like a good conversation. Mm-hmm. That's just what she likes. So if I can have time to give that to her, man, she can have all my conversations.
So that's just showing like how on the daughter end, or even mothers who may be feeling rejected, it's just showing that no matter what, you still try to, be the one to push that unity. You're still coming to her with the olive branch, like, hey, because
I believe that we want you to reach. Even though we're not saying fight for me, fight for our love, we want you to continue to fight for us, just like you want to be fought for. Fight for me. I want my daughter, no matter what happens between us, to fight for me, just like I'm fighting for my mom. I have to show her because I want her to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes you have to show people how to love you because they don't know. And your mom may have gone through something in her life, well, she don't know. She may not have come from a mom that filled her with "I love you" with hugs and kisses, or something may have happened with her, to her, and she don't know how to do it. She's more comfortable talking to the guys. Show her. You can even show, man, your mother's how to love your grandmother, how to love your mom. By the way you treat your mom. So yeah.
So no matter what, there's still a possibility for unity.
There's still a chance. As long as you have breath in your lungs, there's still a chance.
Yeah.
So peace is the ultimate goal for your relationship. You want to figure out the 5 W's and the H. Okay, you all, I have like 3 degrees in journalism from Columbia College, Chicago. The 5 W's and the H are the number 1 rules in journalism: the who, the what, the when, the where, the why, and the how. So like, how do we apply this to resolving conflicts? Who wants it? Who wants things resolved inside of their relationship?
We do.
We do. Of course we do. So what is preventing it? The question is it me? Me as a mother? Is it me? Is it something that I'm doing to my daughter?
Is it you?
Probably me a lot of times. I'm just
Maybe.
And then you just ask the question, is it me? Because just because something happened to you years ago, it may be time to let it go. Or it may be time for you to figure out a better way to handle it. They say if you keep on doing the same thing and getting the same result, that's the definition of insanity. Find a different way. Yeah. It doesn't mean what happened to you is not relevant. It doesn't mean that she doesn't care about it. You just got to find another way to get around it. Hopefully, Sean, in one of these presentations, maybe that'll get the conversation started. When can we have it?
Now. Right now.
It starts now. After this presentation, maybe, as you going over and talking to your mom and saying, hey, let's talk. We need to talk. Like now. And if not now, when can we talk? Don't be so demanding, but, be a little firm, but friendly firm. And then the other thing is, where can I start with how I react? Yeah. When your mom says something that you don't like or you disagree with it, or how are you reacting to it? Do you react out of anger? Do you shut down? Do you be like, I don't want to hear it? How are you reacting? That's important. You got to be respectful in all things. Don't think that you're better than, don't think that you're less than, but be respectful. How do you react? And that's the same thing with mothers. How are you coming at your daughter? Yeah. It's important.
And that's the important part too. Like people can come at you and respond anyway, but you want to make sure that you react in a way that still leaves you with peace, no matter how the situation goes. Mm-hmm. So even if you reach out and that person is pushing back, it's just like, hey, well, I did this. I'm at peace with that. At least I know I'm trying.
Amen. Amen. Out of all things, you do the right thing. You have a responsibility as a mother, and you have a responsibility as a daughter in your relationship to do the right thing. No matter what, you do the right thing. I instill that in her, I instill it in my daughters, and I try to lead by example and do the right thing, even when it hurts. Okay, the other thing is figuring out, why am I upset? You got to know why you're upset, because sometimes that stuff carries over in the conversations and situations it should not be in, and you're like, man, we was just having a good time. Where'd they come from? You still holding on to stuff because you haven't talked about it. So the thing is, did I honestly express my feelings? Did I honestly tell her how I felt? Now, again, I want her to mind read, and she don't know what's going on because she thought that everything was fine, but it's not fine. Mm-hmm. But you aren't talking.
Yeah. And sometimes too, like I know in this house, we were raised as debaters. So it was not uncommon for us to sit down whenever a conflict was happening and come with our 3 points to the conversation. That way we can keep track. So sometimes when emotions are like raining high, you may be thinking about stuff all the way from when you was 7 to what happened when you was 15 to what happened yesterday, and then whatever. So sometimes it's okay. Take that time when you're going through a conflict and you need to calm down. So write out some of the main points that may have upset you, because we all know how disagreements can go. Because you might start feeling good at one point, but then when you walk away, you might be like, hold on, wait a minute. I forgot to tell her about this, and that.
So just because we're having a good time don't mean I forgot about what you did.
So take your time and prepare for it. And that way you can check off everything off this list. Like, okay, and not everything may not may get handled at that point in time, but at least you know what you can come back and revisit later. And sometimes you can just chart out their responses too, because I mean, you can forget, we human, right?
Yep. Yep.
So,
and then learning how to just let stuff go. Once you all get it out there and you talk about it and you start resolving it, don't start throwing stuff back in each other's faces. Don't do that. And when somebody open up and tell you something pertinent, do not use this time to push that out at them. Yeah, but you said you did.
Don't be a shady mama. Hurts. Don't be a shady daughter.
That hurts.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that. So how can I help? Don't come with any expectations. That was one of the biggest things that helped me with my mom. And I'm going to tell you all, our relationship hurts. Like, I love my mom. And that's the worst feeling, is to feel like you're being rejected by your mom, because no other relationship sits right, because you're always feeling that feeling of rejection. What I learned to do with my mom was not to come with expectations of her, but to just love her. I'm not expecting my mom to open up today. I'm not expecting. So any little bit that I get is an accomplishment. I'm happy about just the tiniest things, right? That joy that comes in the morning, because she's talking to me for this long. My mother sits on the phone with me and she'll be talking about all kind of irrelevant stuff. But when we start getting into other things, when she's actually asking about my life, that feels good. And so that is a win for me. So that's not the time to start bringing up this other stuff. And then at what point do I begin to move forward? My mother has so many brushes over the past years with death. Is this other stuff from the past really that important right now? No. What's important right now is our relationship going forward. Yeah. So let's figure out how to move forward. So don't come with expectations. Just come with love. At the end of the day, do you love me?
I love you, girl. I love you.
And I love you too. And that's all that matters. So the look up theory is, no matter what, always look up. And then, hey, if you all have any questions, you all can always reach us at, what are we doing? madconvos@gmail.com. madconvos@gmail.com with any questions. And we'd love to talk to you there. We're going to be bringing these, hopefully weekly, these mad conversations. And in a minute, ladies, we are going to just go over to another chat room and we are going to begin a conversation. So thank you all for listening to us. We hope that some of the tips we've given to you will help in resolving conflicts. Okay, so see you all. Just come back in the room and we'll see you on the other side. And you are back.